What's up YouTube, Deaddraw here, bringing another video today. Today, we're going to be doing a deck profile, but not any deck profile. It's one of my favorite decks of all time, Fire Fist, and the 4-axis variant, if you want to call it that anymore. But like I said, this is one of my favorite decks of all time. It actually kind of starts my competitive career of me getting into playing meta decks and starting all that. It's actually the first deck I got a regional top with. I actually went 7-0 undefeated, got first place, which is the only regional I've ever gotten first place at. I've been close to getting first, but not quite getting there. But besides that, that's what I have to say. I did play this at a local, and it actually did really well. I won the local with it. It wasn't super competitive that day, but it was a lot of fun. Showing me that this deck is actually like just really strong. If you want to play casually, though I am playing some expensive cards such as Ash Blossom, and stuff like that, it is still very, very strong. Obviously, but you know, it's just a lot of fun to play, and we'll kind of get into this deck profile. Also, I am recording a little bit differently, so if it's like not as good a quality, just let me know, guys. I'm really sorry about that, if there's shadows and whatnot, but I'm doing my best with what I have to work with. But anyway, guys, let's get into this deck profile. First off, we play 3 Fire Fist Bear. Bear is very strong. He allows you to pop a Fire Formation card, and then destroy 1 monster on your opponent's field. It does target, but it is still a very strong card, getting rid of problem cards that you really can't deal with, any high attack monsters. And then it also, anytime it inflicts battle damage, it actually allows you to set 1 Fire Formation card from your deck to your graveyard, which that cannot be Ash Blossom. First off, because it's in damage step it happens. Second of all, it automatically sets to the your field spell, your spell and trap zone. So, very, very strong card. And then we actually played 3 Brotherhood of the Fire Fist Dragon. This card is actually really good. It allows you to fetch more cards. It's a very good starter. 1800 attack is actually pretty beefy in right now. And just being able to special summon 1 Fire Fist monster from your graveyard by sending 2 Fire Formation spell and traps to your grave is very strong, since you can make Cardinal and whatnot from in the extra deck. This card is actually really good. Since we're not playing the 3.5 access where we're doing all the synchro summoning, this card is actually just really, really strong in the game. Then, for the last Fire Fist monster we are actually playing in the deck, we play 2 Gorilla. Once again, this card, when it destroys a monster and sends it to the battle, you can destroys it and sends it to the graveyard. You can actually set 1 Fire Formation spell or trap, or I think it's just spell, directly from your deck to your spell and trap zone. So once again, it just gets your engine going. This one he's also the same as Bear, but he destroys a field, not a field, but a spell or trap card on the field. Very, very, very strong. And then, of course, we play 3 Coach Soldier Wolfbark. This card is just very good in general. Being able to immediately make a rank 4 at any time, but also being able to keep it to link off with those monsters. Very, very strong card. Then we played 3 Ash Blossom. Surprisingly enough, the fact that this is fire is actually pretty good. It helps you make Doolittle Chimera and stuff like that if you really need to summon it to do so. But it is just obviously very strong. And then we played 3 Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. Now, the reason being behind this is we're actually only playing 5 traps in the deck. And if you guys had played this deck in the past, you would know that it is a very, very trap oriented and whatnot, but I figured we will just remove some of the traps that the deck relies on to put in the hand traps. It helps it, you know, going second and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's really kind of the theory and logic behind that. Play the hand traps instead of regular traps, and whatnot. And that is the monster lineup. We'll go into the spell lineup now. And we play 3 Fire Formation Tenki. This is an obvious 3 of. You search any Beast Warrior monster in your deck. So very, very, very strong. Then we actually played 2 Fire Formation Tetsu. This gives you an additional normal summon. I debated on playing 3, but when you play that 3, you just see it too much. And since we're playing the 4-axis build, you actually can just search this with Tiger King quite often. So you kind of just search it whenever you need it, especially with the amount of different ways you can search these cards. And then for the last fire formation spells we played 2 Gaioku. This card actually just locks down back row, kind of similar to Light Stage, but they can now actually respond to the activation of this card. It's also another card that just helps you get off dragon. So if you go second and they set at least 1, you can normal summon your dragon, activate this, lock down their back row, and then actually set Tensin from your deck. So I'll show you guys what that is later here. I'm just going to clean these up a little bit. But that is the general fire formations that we're playing besides the traps we are playing. Then I actually did play a small Sky Striker engine. So we played 3 Engage and 3 Hornet Drones and 1 Afterburners. Now you might say I just threw this in for the sake of it being Sky Striker, but the fact that Kagari is actually a fire is a big deal because it helps you make the little Chimera while also going up in the link chain, so you can make higher link monsters. So very, very, very strong in the deck actually, and it actually has a decent amount of synergy. You know, and there was times that you really didn't want to act or you couldn't activate these because you're sitting on a monster, but most of the time you can actually you can overlay, make a Tiger King or something like that, and then activate them, and then still be able to go off while maintaining advantage. Then we played 3 Scapegoat. This card is very strong in this deck, and that's because you're actually able to, we'll go into it later, but it helps you make certain link monsters specific that's really good in this deck. So this card is just really good, and being able to make bigger monsters, I think this card is very good for any rogue deck that's going into it. And then for the last spell, we played 1 Monster Reborn. Honestly, mainly just because you can summon Wolfbark and still get your battle phase that turn. I was debating on playing Soul Charge over this, but the Monster Reborn actually just came in really clutch, so no complaints there. Then we played 3 Fire Formation Tensin. This one gives your monsters a 1000 attack boost. With you not being able to make any monster that's super large, being able to bump them up by 1000 or, well, 700 if this leaves the field only. But, you know, very, very, very strong card. You can activate it in a damage step. It just causes a lot of problems. And then the last 2 traps we played were actually 2 Infinite Impermanents. The reason we played Impermanence is because it doubles as a hand trap, and then it also just a very, very strong trap card in the game right now. Then we will get into the extra deck. Now the funny thing is, people know that Fire Fist is supposed to be a rank 4 toolbox, but this actually kind of turned into less rank 4s and more link monsters. So we actually played 2 Tiger King. I really wanted to play 3, but honestly 2 just like really ended up working out the best. I never really missed this card. I never really was like, oh, I wish I had a 3rd. Usually either won or lost by the time. And then for our other rank 4, we're playing Fire Fist Cardinal. And believe it or not, guys, these are the only rank 4s we are playing. Every other card is actually a link monster. But this is still a very strong card. Being able to recycle your Fire Formation spells is very strong, but while also getting rid of 2 cards your opponent controls. A very, very, very strong card still in today's meta. Very easy to make with Dragon. And honestly, I made this quite a bit. Next, we played 2 Firefighting Darumidal. Now, this card is absolutely amazing. I'm surprised this isn't actually a Fire Fist monster itself. But Darumidal actually can be summoned by beasts, beast warriors, or winged beast monsters. So that means we can special summon this off of our Scapegoat. Being able to special this off of Scapegoat is actually a really big deal because just opening up many spots. Also, it allows you to destroy 1 spell and trap card to destroy 1 spell and trap card your opponent controls, which everything in this deck, all your Fire Formation cards, are continuous spells and traps, so it works out really well with the deck. Obviously, that's kind of what the synergy of Fire Fist is meant to be. So this worked out really, really, really good in the deck. Running 2 was absolutely necessary in my opinion. I made 2 quite a bit. But it's just really good. And then if it destroys, it gains attack, 100 attack for every beast warrior, a winged beast, or beast monster you control. And then if it destroys a monster and sends it to the graveyard, you can add 1 beast warrior from your banished pile or your graveyard to your hand, which is really good. A lot of times I just found myself adding back either Dragon or Wolfbark, depending on the situation. and just being able to continue to go off later or get set up for my next turn. And then we played one Doolittle Chimera. Um, I actually did miss this at 2, but the extra deck space is really limited. But this card is actually really strong in the deck. Obviously, you can make it using Kagari and one other monster. Very strong. And being able to boost all your monsters up is very strong in the deck. Then we played 2 Kagari. Yeah, I did use 2 Kagari quite a bit. I am not playing the Shizuku, but I did miss the Shizuku just a bit because Fire Fists are a bit slower, so sometimes you're not able to get the other monster on board that would be worthy enough to make Doolittle Chimera. So that's all I really have to say. One Link Rebo, one Link Spider. This really helped with the Scapegoat, but honestly, I hardly made the Link Spider very rarely because you have the Rumadal and you don't really need to, but very strong cards, obviously. And then we played the Nightmare Engine, and I think the Nightmare Engine overall is why you don't play your rank 4 toolbox as much. You just really don't need to. And it just they kind of solve the problems of the rank 4 toolbox that you would play. So we played one Phoenix, one Goblin, and one Unicorn. Goblin was very strong. We weren't playing Cerberus because Bear essentially does the same thing as Cerberus, and Phoenix I feel like it was just way better. Because the thing is with the Cerberus, he has to target any monster in the main monster zone, and I can just get rid of stuff in the extra monster zone with Bear. I just never really saw the need for it. Phoenix, on the other hand, worked really good. Since we're only playing 2 Gorilla, you don't see it quite as much. So very strong card. Goblin, honestly, was kind of underwhelming. I made it a couple times, got the additional normal, and just like uplinked, but it wasn't really like anything crazy. You could honestly probably cut the Goblin. I'm not sure if I would. And then Unicorn, absolutely amazing card. I would not cut it. Worked out really well. And then I played only two Link 4s. Saryuja Skuldred and Borlo Dragon. Borlo Dragon, just an amazing card to have. Saryuja Skuldred, being able to get back into your deck just once again, and then anything that boosts your monsters. So being able to make a Saryuja and have a Bear out in its zone, very high attack, really helps out the deck quite a bit, honestly. And then we did play a side deck here, which would include 3 Droll. I didn't main deck this card, but I don't know. Siding was just really good. I didn't really think we needed to main it. It just worked out in the side better. And then 3 Shared Ride. Obviously, anything that adds, it's really strong against. 3 Mind Control. This card actually is like really strong. Being able to get rid of your opponent's monsters, even to just like summon to not summon, but to be able to attack with Bear directly. Getting rid of those monsters was a big help. And then we would just set the fire formations, and then you can link off with your stuff if you would like. 3 Twin Twisters, very kind of self-explanatory, very good card. And then we actually sided 2 Solemn Strikes for our 4. We actually only played a 14 side deck. I don't know. I honestly thought I had 15, but we had 14 in there. The third card would probably just be a 3rd Solemn Strike. Like I said, going first is strong. This card's very strong, and especially in Fire Fist, like I said, you kind of just sit on your monsters and whatnot. So kind of put these in when you're going first. It just becomes a really strong card to have. But yeah, that's all I have to say, guys. This is my Fire Fist deck profile. What I played, it was just a lot of fun. I really did enjoy playing this deck. I did miss this deck quite a bit. Let me know what you guys think. Please comment down below. Obviously, this isn't supposed to be overly competitive. This is more of a fun deck to me that I'm trying to make somewhat competitive. So yeah, I am running the expensive cards like Engage and Permanence and stuff like that, but that can be easily substituted for stuff. It's like your Engage engine, your whole Sky Striker engine could be substituted for a few more traps. Also, you could play Pot of Desires and Pot of Duality. I would play Pot of Duality, and I'd probably put 2 Desires in, 2 Duality in for a lot of the Sky Striker stuff. If I wasn't playing that, I would have to test and then put in a few more spells and traps. But that's all I really have to say, guys. Please comment down below. Let me know what you think. We'll talk to you later. See ya.